Welcome into Last Call Fantasy Football. It's me, Kyle, and my boy Justin back for episode 2.
Dirt.
We kicked things off with our draft reactions last week, and we had a great time doing it. So we're back today with some new player news, some rookie sleepers, and a mock draft for you. So playing around with sleeper, we got a 10-team standard mock draft on queue for us, and we're gonna see how it goes. We got some takes that we don't know about each other, and we're gonna run through it here. So let my boy Justin take off with some new player news.
Yeah, so in the new player news, we got Rashee Rice suspected in nightclub assault in Dallas, Texas.
I did see that.
Right after he was suspected of a hit and run.
Well, we knew he got shot, so
Huh?
or not? Yeah,
Rashee Rice didn't get shot?
yeah, he did,
No.
bro. Yes, he did. Rashee
Nah,
Rice got
dude, that was
shot.
somebody else.
Who am I
No,
thinking of
dude.
then?
It's not Rashee Rice. It's somebody else. Anyways, you can look that up as I go on. Rashee Rice suspected in nightclub assault in Dallas, Texas. Apparently,
Oh, it's Tank Dell. My bad.
Tank Dell.
Anyways.
Oh yeah, that actually sucks. Okay, there's more player news. Apparently he hit a photographer.
Oh, just like paparazzi just socked him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's pretty tense after he's under investigation for everything. And
If anything, I'm on my best boy behavior. Just saying. If I
yeah,
facing
for
jail
sure.
time, but whatever.
Apparently his suspension is also expected to be at least half a year now.
Okay. Well,
Pretty important to know. That kind of sucks because I was really in on Rashee Rice going into the season. But who knows? Maybe it opens up room for Marquise Brown to have a good start to the season. Up next, we got Chase Claypool signed with the Buffalo Bills. Doesn't really matter at all.
You know he's 25?
Oh, dude, I had that in my notes. I literally had that in my notes because when I looked him up, I was like, wait, he's only 25 though? Like, he hasn't really done much. He had a great rookie year. I thought his sophomore year he was going to explode, have the year 2 jump. And he's just sucked. But, he's only 20. Well, he's going to be 26 start season.
Okay, but still, I mean, if he's going to be in any position to have a chance at being something, you can't ask for.
It's with Josh Allen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With
Josh Allen,
wide
no
open,
receivers.
Exactly.
It's going to be Keon Coleman and Chase Claypool and
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel. So, it's worth noting at least. Maybe he's one of those guys you pick up in the last round of the draft. Just a what if.
He'll be the guy that either you do that or after week 1, week 2, see how much he cracks the lineup. And if he's on the field, then you pick him up. And I think it'll be very obvious how the season will go for Claypool very early in the season. So,
yep. Next, we got Odell signs with the Dolphins.
I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think more so it matters if you were kind of worried about Tua. I think it kind of
it's nice to have
reassures
at least 2.5 options.
Have. Yeah, I mean, because who'd you have before? Albert Wilson.
Didn't matter. The whole offense was the run game, Tyreek, and 80% of the time Jalen Waddle. So giving him someone else, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
It's nice for your fantasy quarterback to have Odell as his third wide receiver. That's pretty nice.
Lamar had him. He won MVP, so as his third option. So I mean, you can do
worse.
And
then he won the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford the year before. Yeah. So I see a trend here.
Unfortunately, we're 2 ACL tears removed. Well, one before.
He was 2 ACL tears before he even won the Super Bowl. What was it? We're at 4 ACL tears now?
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think he has an ACL.
We'll see. I don't know. It's just a signing that helps the team maybe with experience, playoff experience, something like that. But did Odell really help Lamar and the Ravens
No,
win more
I think he
games?
had like 2 games.
And more
Who
importantly
were
for this
fantasy
show,
relevant, and
exactly,
that's because he caught bomb touchdowns.
exactly. But
It honestly wasn't even production throughout the game. It was just one play.
exactly.
But all right. And lastly, we got Dallas interested in trading for Najee Harris. This is more of a rumor, but I've seen it a lot the last couple of days. So who knows? There might be some legitimacy to it.
For fantasy purposes, I think that that would be the ideal situation because one, I think it gives Jalen Warren the keys to the ship
Yeah,
at in Pittsburgh, and
and I think he
he's a
has a
good
better role
player.
in Dallas.
Well, and I think if Dallas were to make that move, they're saying the same thing. They're saying we're giving Najee the keys to our running back room. They did sign Zeke,
Exactly.
but they didn't have a choice. They had nobody. They had Rico Dowdle on the roster by himself, and so they needed a back. You get a vet who's coming back, familiar with the team, familiar with the players, for $3 million, up to $3 million. Did you? Oh, sidebar. Did you see that they're still paying Zeke $6 million this year from his previous contract? So
No
they're
way.
they're paying him
They're
six
still paying from
million
his last
from
contract.
$6 million and then $3 million this year. So they're paying him $9 million a year this year, which is what Jerry Jones was said was too expensive to sign Derrick Henry, who Derrick Henry signed 1 year or 2 years, $9 million with the
Wait,
Ravens.
I wonder if he's still getting paid from New England as well.
I don't know. I don't know what his contract situation was, but either
I
way,
think he had a
he's
decent
getting
contract.
2 direct deposits from Jerry Jones. And the one that's old
That's
is more than
hilarious.
his new contract. Anyways, yeah, I saw that tidbit. That was funny. But no, back to the news and the relevance of it. I don't know. It's just that the team would say this is Najee Harris's running back room. They didn't have anybody. They brought back Zeke, but for little money, and they didn't have anyone else. So when they blundered in the draft and they didn't pick anyone, they had no option. So I think that move would be great for Najee and free up Jalen Warren to have the whole running back room in Pittsburgh, which we saw.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren's great, but for whatever reason, they kept giving Najee the rock 15 to 18 times a game with his, 3.9 yards a
Yeah.
carry? Come on.
Well, I think Jalen Warren is also he's Jalen Warren's like one of the Austin Eckler backs where it's like he
I'll
hasn't
take it.
proven to be prone to injury, but I think that's kind of the worry, and that's why they keep Najee Harris as bell cow.
Yeah, but
Because they
look
worry
at what
about
happened
Jalen.
when they gave Eckler the keys. You got a
Yeah,
diamond in the rough. So I don't know. I like it. I could see
I
that. So
would be
hopefully,
very excited because I think Najee Harris would. I wouldn't be like super excited to draft him, but I'd be pretty happy with having him as my like running back three because I think he'll get 10 to 12 points a game. He'll
hmm
probably get like 55 yards and a touchdown every game.
yeah, and I will take 55 and a touchdown. So they
Yeah.
they got to do something. So I believe it. But
Yeah. And before we forget, this show's beer of the day is Yingling Flight.
it's Yingling's
Um,
light beer. It's
yeah,
fantastic. Tastes like
it's
Yingling.
my
Doesn't
first
make
time
it.
trying it.
And I got one, but I poured it in a glass, forgetting that we were going to be talking about it. So, and it's also a twist off.
No, it's not.
Want to bet?
Oh, dude. Wait, are you for real? I've been popping these off this whole time. Bro, I've been popping these off all day,
Bro, come on.
and I was like, why are they so hard to pop off?
Dude. For a show that is synonymous with beer, you should you should know that domestic
Dude,
beer is a twist off.
I thought Yingling was imported.
Bro, oh my god. You're
Bro,
embarrassing
it's
us.
called Yingling. That's not American.
It read the
Miller
bottle.
Lite is
Read
American.
the bottle. What does it say? Right on the front.
Well, it does say Pottsville, PA.
and I'm shocked it doesn't say it on there. It's
It
America's
doesn't say.
first brewery. It's the oldest beer in America. It's the oldest American beer.
How?
Bro, it's the first American beer.
Ain't no George Washington coming over on the Mayflower talking about Yang Lang. Like,
I don't shoot the messenger, bro. You didn't do your research. First off, you're trying to pop it off. Second of all, yes, it's an American beer, the original.
I didn't try. I did pop it off.
Whatever. Anyways, cheers, and let's get into some
Cheers.
rookie sleepers. All right. So, I guess I'll start it off with our rookie sleepers pick. So, for me, a sleeper is someone who has the opportunity, but when you think about it, it's more likely there's more roadblocks ahead that would prevent them from being a successful asset year one. So,
Yeah.
my first sleeper would be my newly endowed Bronco, Troy Franklin. I'm excited about Troy Franklin. He just has the elephant in the room is that he was a 4th round pick. And for fantasy, when someone who was as highly touted as Troy Franklin, often mocked in the 1st or 2nd round, drops to the 4th, it's not good. There's just not as much investment into him. But when you look at the production that Bo Nix, who is going to be QB1, don't care what anyone says, he's going to be QB1. It was his top option at Oregon this past year, the most productive Oregon wide receiver ever. And if you follow Oregon sports, they put up numbers on the offensive side of the ball. So Troy Franklin.
I was about to say it again because I swear every time you said Franklin, I swear to God you said Franklin every time.
Troy Franklin.
Troy Franklin.
He put up some numbers at Oregon where they already put up numbers. So him reuniting with his college QB, they got the rapport in a wide receiver room that has Cortland Sutton, who is probably a 1-year rental with this team. He has been a solid leader, but I think he's reached his ceiling, and this team is in a rebuilding phase. So I think that they're just going to cut their losses and move on after this year. You got Tim Patrick, who's coming back off of an ACL tear in preseason and an Achilles tear in the following preseason. So he hasn't stepped a foot on a regular season field in 2 years.
Did they cut that dude?
They re-signed him. They restructured his contract.
What?
Yes, they restructured his contract, so he's coming back. And then you got Marvin Mims.
Insane.
Marvin Mims plays a lot of the outside stretch the field role, lightning quick, which is similar to Troy Franklin, but I think that is the direction that Sean Payton wants to move the team. They got the QB. They traded up to get Troy. I was watching the 4th round, the day 3 picks were coming in, and he was still available. And as I mentioned in the last show, I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm hoping that we get wide receiver help, and who better than someone with rapport with the 1st round pick. And they traded up actually a couple later round picks, but I looked at the numbers. I had to look at them again, but it wasn't nothing to go get him. So Troy Franklin is my rookie sleeper.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome destination for him. I do like him going back with Bo Nix. The only I guess you would say roadblock, just like you said, is that it's going to be a rookie quarterback, and typically rookie quarterbacks don't really support a wide receiver 1. But I think he's going to be maybe not week 1 or week 2 or week 3. I think Cortland Sutton will probably be the guy to start off, but I think throughout the year, Bo Nix is going to be finding Troy Franklin pretty often. So who knows? He could be like a mid-season to late season breakout.
Yeah, no, for sure. He'll take some getting used to in the NFL. He's a smaller guy. So Sean Payton even came out and said that they're going to use him a lot more in moving formations. They're going to send him across the line. They don't want him because he'll get jammed off the line and he'll be toast. So they're using him in a very specific way to play him to his strengths. So I'm excited for him. both as a fan and a hopeful fantasy manager in this coming season. But Troy Franklin, bro, say Troy Franklin 5 times fast.
Well, I can't say it that many times fast, but Troy Franklin. I guess that is pretty hard to say. I'm not gonna
Troy
lie.
Franklin, Troy Franklin,
Troy
Troy Franklin.
Franklin. Troy. You have to really pronounce the Troy. You can't like skip over
Yeah,
that. You can't be like Troy Franklin. You have to be like Troy Franklin.
He T Frank.
T Frank.
T Frank.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna actually call him for now on. T Frank.
Actually, I'm cool with it. But
I do think now that you mentioned that, who knows? Maybe I mean Sean Payton, Brandon Cooks, Sean Payton, Troy Franklin. Maybe that's what we're looking at here. Like you said, if I didn't even hear the news about him being
that's
used
a
as like a
fantastic
sweep
comp.
guy.
That's a fantastic comp for Troy Franklin. I really like Brandon Cooks, and if we can get Brandon Cooks out of him, I'm in. So watch out, the league's in danger. But all right, Justin, what is your rookie sleeper? I'll let you go next.
So now time to tell you my rookie sleepers. I actually have two, but I will go pretty quickly here with Trey Benson because I think he's a little bit of a layup. He's sitting behind James Conner on the Cardinals, and I think James Conner is very injury prone. Trey Benson is very explosive, and James Conner is not. So I think very quickly he should be able to take over the role in Cardinals offense. The second one is Roman Wilson. I think they Steelers traded Deontay Johnson away. He's kind of like the Steeler guy, you know what I mean?
He just comes from a high pedigree school. He's got the production. He's not flashy, but he's a baller. So it doesn't shock me that the Steelers were the team that landed him.
Yeah, I mean he's one of those guys that like when I was watching him, like he's not super talent. Like he's not super fast. He's not incredible at really anything, but he just gets the job done. So I think that's a good person to be across from not Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. You know, George Pickens can stretch the field and make the big spectacular plays, and Roman Wilson can get the. I see him almost being similar to Josh Downs of last year. I could see that being a very real possibility, except kind of continuing that production throughout the year, whereas Josh Downs kind of did it for like 4 or 5 weeks and then went away.
Yeah, it's a wide open wide receiver room too. I mean, George Pickens and who else?
The Muth.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you could say the same thing about the Bills room then. If you're gonna, no receivers, but they got Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. So I don't think that you can target the tight end as much as you want. You're not winning games unless your name is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce without having the wide receivers to get involved at a high level. So, all right, well, my second rookie sleeper. I know I talked about Troy Franklin a lot, but I think that it's a super high possibility that Jonathan Brooks has a breakout year in year one. I wasn't a fan at first, to be honest.
I've been in.
His tape is great. He's got extreme contact balance. That was the thing that I noticed. He can take the long ball to the house. He just, to me, he didn't seem like he was built for the workload of a 3-down back. So that would be my only concern. And obviously he's coming off of the ACL tear late in the season last year.
Well,
so
I don't know for facts, but I think at Texas he was a 3-down workload back there.
They had Cedric, was it Cedric Baxter? They had another kid. I just know because he was supposed to come to Florida State, and he's a legit baller, and he'll be taking over.
Was he behind Bijan too?
Yes, he was behind Bijan.
Bijan share the role.
Yes, that was one of the other reasons why Bijan didn't have the workload that he did, but was as highly touted, is they were splitting reps too. So
Yeah.
he was the Robin to his Batman, and like I said, good pedigree, like guys that come from a good competitive school, especially at the running back position. And he's coming into a team that is completely wide open as far as opportunity goes, and they put emphasis on the O-line and giving Bryce Young some help. So if he can grow with that team, I think the Panthers have a sour taste in all of our mouths anytime we talk about that terrible offense they had. So I will be in. It just depends on where he goes in drafts, because everyone sees that he's the only second round running back pick this year. So he is going to be put on a pedestal. And I just think people will get excited for a new rookie running back, someone taken to be that guy. But the concerns are still there. So that's why he's in my sleeper category. But I think the
I did say,
optimism could be there.
I just looked it up. Chuba's still on the team, actually, which I didn't know. Which
Yeah.
makes sense. So
They just
that could be a
actually
roadblock
signed
as well.
someone today. Running back too.
A running back?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Good to put that in player news.
I know, but hold on. let me see what it was. Oh, Rashad Penny. They just signed Rashad Penny, but that doesn't. I don't care. Rashad Penny has had one too many injuries, so just adding depth, and I think it's smart too. To be honest, I don't think Miles Sanders comes back. He has a little bit of dead cap, I think, if they do move on from him this year, but who knows who makes the team. So it's definitely going to be the guy they drafted in the second round.
Miles Sanders is still on the team?
Yeah, I think he has 1 year left on his deal. But
why would they draft Jonathan Brooks?
Did you see Miles Sanders play last year?
Penny?
That should answer your question.
They have 4 starting running backs on their team.
Look,
Rashad Penny,
that's why
Miles
he's
Sanders,
a sleeper,
Jonathan
dude,
Brooks,
because the team
Chuba.
is a mess. Yes, Chuba's fine.
All that. That's the Eagles' running back room from last year.
Yeah, except 1 year older and on a way worse team with polar opposite offensive line. So I don't know. I'm just saying that's why he's in the sleeper category. There's always going to be some opportunity for a second round running back. He was talented at Texas. I like the film. He has opportunity to set himself apart because he's just a pile of turds in Carolina. And you can see there's dudes that can just volume their way to relevance. And I think that's...
Yeah, and I actually looked up. Miles Sanders is actually really young as well still. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Miles Sanders was really tricky, I felt like, because he was hurt. Okay, no, he's actually 27. That's not that young for a running back.
I think his better days are behind him. So, but we can move on. We have plenty more of things to run through. We're going to run through a quick 10-team standard mock draft on Sleeper. We got it pulled up here, and in our league we've been playing in since 2013. Since 2013, been playing in this league. I know it feels weird to say it out loud, but it has been since 2013. And
you're right.
We decided our draft order this year by doing March Madness bracket challenge. So I ended up placing 4th. Justin placed 7th because he don't know jack about basketball. And so we're going to pick from those spots. We can never get too much practice. So I like to see how ADP evolves. The sleeper ADP right now is odd, I think, personally. So I was talking to Justin about this the other day. Either that's going to make me a genius and I'm winning the championship 100%, or I'm going to be so wrong on these players. But I got confidence. I got experience. I'm ready to rock and roll. So we'll see. We'll hold on to the receipts for these drafts and look back at them at the end of the year. All right, so let's get into it. Mock draft pulled up here. It's a 10-team standard snake draft. It's the same settings as we have in our home league. We've been playing in this league for a long time, and we even did our NCAA March Madness bracket challenge to decide our draft order. I got the 4th pick. Justin got the 7th. So we're going to keep our spots, get some extra practice in, see what the ADP says should come our way in the fall. It's going to change. The ADP, in my opinion, is absurd on a few of these players, so I'm looking forward to being 100% right or getting dunked on and being 100% wrong. So we'll kick it off and see who goes first. And CMC, Ja'Marr Chase, Tyreek Hill. This is my nightmare. At the 4 spot, I say it's my nightmare. Ja'Marr Chase, honestly, isn't really in play. He is, maybe not at the 4 spot, personally. I've had Ja'Marr Chase each of the last 3 years, and it's been a bumpy ride. You know, I get jealous of the guys who have Tyreek, the guys who have CMC, who are in that same upper echelon category of players where the road just is a little more smooth. And Ja'Marr Chase has the big booms. He can disappear. Not fully, but he isn't going to give you that consistency that the other guys will. So Ja'Marr Chase, I guess I escape. I am going to take CeeDee Lamb here. I think that the Cowboys are primed to have a repeat of
over
the
JJ.
later half. Yes, and that's purely because of Dak and the JJ McCarthy. Bro, we got JJ and JJ.
Oh, I do got the JJ to JJ connection there.
They're gonna have a JJ all night long.
I bet you're regretting your pick now.
Nah. CeeDee Lamb, he is an elite wide receiver. I think that the Cowboys are primed to repeat the second half of last year. As someone who had Dak on his team the second half of last year, it was glorious. So they didn't do anything to change the roster in a drastic way where it could eat into his target share, eat into his numbers that he can put up. So I'm fully in on CeeDee Lamb. I will gladly take him here. So after CD goes JJ and then Amon-Ra. So Justin, who is up for you?
Yeah, this is a really tricky spot for me because there's 4 running backs that I would love to take here, but I don't know which one. And then there's not really any wide receivers that I want here. Obviously, like, I do want them. It's just I wouldn't take them with my first pick. I'd rather have one of these running backs. So right now we still have Bijan, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jonathan Taylor. And I can't really decide which one I like more. I think Jonathan Taylor has the route to victory over the 4 of them. Bijan wasn't exactly what we hoped as far as utilization last year. And Breece Hall had some injury problems. Jahmyr Gibbs has David Montgomery there, so I'm going to play with my heart. I think I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor here.
I don't think you can go wrong with Jonathan Taylor in the first round.
That's what I'm saying. You really can't.
If anything, if you could snag him in the second round, you would be getting him at a discount. That is worth it. I think he is worthy of a first round grade, but if you can snag him in the second round like we've seen, then even better.
Ideal situation, I wanted Amon-Ra to fall to me because usually Jonathan Taylor will kind of make it back to you in the second round, especially when you're drafting at 7 and a 10 team. So that's kind of what I was hoping for, but instead, we had Breece Hall, A.J. Brown, Bijan, Puka, Garrett Wilson, and Marvin Harrison, which I think is criminal. No way should Marvin Harrison, I don't care how much of a generational talent he is, no way should he be going at the 208.
I think it's wild. This may be a hot take, but it's wild that all 3 of those receivers go in the second round this year. I think it's wild that all 3 of them do. Even Puka and Garrett Wilson. I know Garrett Wilson is getting Aaron Rodgers back this year.
Last year.
Exactly. And what the hell did he do last year to deserve to do it again? If we're basing off of last year,
Uh,
he deserved to go in the 6th round. I get situations different, but even so,
yeah.
there's this second round pick is supposed to be locked and loaded cornerstone pick of your team. And there's so many red flags and lack of physical production for these guys. Puka is an exception. Puka, he just had the greatest rookie fantasy season for a wide receiver ever. And so this ADP in his draft position here is just projecting that he's going to build upon that and or do it again, which he could.
Right.
He could. But personally, in my opinion and how I play fantasy, I want a larger sample size to take that high. I'll let someone else take the gamble that it repeats. I'm typically not going to be that guy. And then Marvin Harrison, it's just asinine. Yeah, he's a wide receiver one, but I mean, what is that? 14th overall. Come on now. But
I think the issue is on Sleeper, these wide receivers are going way too high. Where like, if you look at the receivers that are left, like I do think I would take Puka, Garrett, and Marvin. Maybe not Marvin, but Garrett and Puka, I probably would take over Adams and Drake London and Ayuk and Olave and Nico Collins, Diggs. But there's just so many that go first round on Sleeper that you still have Jahmyr Gibbs on the board, Connor Williams, Saquon Barkley.
I know.
So,
Saquon Barkley, perennial all-star workhorse running back, and you're going to take a receiver in his rookie year.
He's never done anything on an NFL field.
I think it's wild, but
Just criminal.
That's what I'm saying. Either I'm going to win it all this year, and we are, for the most part, on the same page on this topic. So either we're both going to make it far, or we're both coming in last because things this year are being shaken up.
I think it's going to be great this year, but that's just an I think. I don't know he's going to be great this year. I thought Drake London was going to be great his rookie year. He sucked.
Situation was bad,
So,
and a number of
who knows?
variables.
Kyler Murray goes and tears his ACL again, and I have no doubt that Marvin Harrison will absolutely suck if that happens. Without Kyler on the field, I don't think Marvin is going to produce. So that makes me wary of taking him so high without ever even seeing it.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah, but we can get into your next pick so we can move this thing along.
Yep. This is a no-brainer for me. Like I said, all the wide receivers on the board right now, I'm not too interested in. So I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs because I think that he's a first-round running back.
Jahmyr Gibbs over Kyron. I didn't expect that from you.
Well, they did draft Blake Corum.
But go back to the argument you just made about Marvin on the NFL field. They drafted Corum as the third running back off the board.
But it's a little different in the running back room.
But you've got David Montgomery, who's proved he can do it on an NFL field, and they have proven that they will.
You also had
snaps.
Gibbs prove that when they're splitting snaps, he was still really good. Whereas with Kyron Williams, it's different wide receiver to running back because you've got two or three wide receivers on the field at all times. We have one running back on the field. So you can have Marvin Harrison and whatever Tard they got alongside him, and they can both produce. But it's either Kyron or Blake Corum on the field. And Blake Corum's going to get some snaps. I still really love Kyron, but yeah, I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs here.
All right, fair enough. Hopefully he falls to me, dickhead. Well, all right. Well, to me, honestly, this is a no-brainer. Either started off with CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1.
Oh, you're gonna go Barkley, huh?
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Saquon with the Eagles O-line, even without
I can't believe you got him in the
Kelce.
second round.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I've gotten him a few times in the second round, and I think it's a mistake. I know everyone is scared of the tush push and Jalen Hurts sniping all the goal line. No, if they get to the 1 yard line, then yes. But anything inside the 5, that's Saquon Barkley all day. And
He
so
scores
I'm
a
not
lot
worried about
from
that.
like the 20-yard line, so
Exactly.
I wouldn't be too worried.
And he's done it for years and years. He was great every other game, it seemed like last year on the Giants, and the Giants are an absolute dumpster fire. So
Yeah, I could not name a offensive lineman on the Giants. He's gonna be running behind Lane Johnson right now. So
yeah, it's gonna be great. Even it maybe he gets a couple touchdowns sniped, whatever. I'll deal with it. He's talented enough to make up for that. So Nico Collins absurdly went first pick in the third round. Then Debo, DJ Moore. I'm glad that those are the guys that came off before me, because those guys aren't in the same tier as I view some of these other guys that I'm staring down right now. Um, it's gonna be tough because I'm gonna have to make a decision that might have some repercussions on my team, but I think it might be worth it in the long run. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it this time. I will. I might.
I know where you were going.
I know. I know you know where I'm going. Yep. I can't do it. I'm gonna do it. Josh Allen. Okay.
Ah, screw you.
The reason for the Josh Allen pick is it has been the bane of my existence every time I've not had a locked and loaded QB1. And in my opinion, it is so important to have that difference maker at QB, just because they are the players that score the most every week, for the most part. On average, they score the most points on your team each week. And the variation of that can be drastic. You can have a quarterback score 15 to 20 more fantasy points over the next guy. But the wide receiver, say a great wide receiver will score 5 to 10 more points than the next guy. And so in just that point differential and that variation, I've noticed in our scoring format is 6-point passing touchdowns, having someone who chucks the ball at the goal line, who can score with his legs as well, like Josh Allen, I think it's a cheat code. So I'm going to go a little bit unorthodox against industry ADP and take Josh Allen here to build out my top 3 positions.
Yeah, so I'm back on the clock. Honestly, I may kind of follow suit because I think there's some wide receivers that I can get a little later. I'm going to take a little bit of a different route. I think it's going to surprise you. I'm going to go Kelsey here.
In the third round.
In the third round. I don't think, Kelsey last year went in the first. Um, and I think he's well worth it there. I didn't see any receivers that I was in love with. I'm in love with Kelsey or Laporta, whichever one you want to take. I don't really care either way. I think they both deserve to go there. But I do think Jameson Williams on the Lions could carve out more of a role for himself. So I, Kelsey's done it for 10 years, right? I'm more comfortable with Kelsey than Laporta, but to each his own.
Right.
And I feel like that's really rare for me to do there, but I just felt it in me.
Sometimes you got to play with your heart.
I felt it, man. You got to play fantasy football with your heart. And then so we have Michael Pittman, Josh Jacobs, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Jalen Hurts, and our quarterback goes off the board. Then you got Jalen Waddle, which Jalen Waddle actually is, I'd be pretty happy with him in the fourth round. I'm happier with Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 1.
Okay.
Super stoked to be able to get Cooper Kupp after taking Travis Kelce with my third round pick. Cooper Kupp still has wide receiver 1 upside. So we'll see.
Yeah. I honestly, with the wide receivers in this tier that were available at that time, I think Cooper Kupp would have been my pick. I don't think Devontae Smith is quite there for carrying a team just yet. Definitely could be, but I think him and AJ Brown be Batman and Robin. So now it's up to me. ETN came off the board, which is kind of unfortunate because around this, I mean, if you look at the ADP here, the running backs that are available, you got Derrick Henry, which I think he'll have a great year for sure. But ETN being younger, still being that workhorse, I would have went ETN if I'm going running back. The wide receivers here, Tank Dell, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is just locked and loaded in the 4th round every year. It's not sexy. You kind of know what you're going to get. You can have 10 points a game, and then he'll get you 35 every 8 games or so. You know, he'll do it twice a year. So it just depends on how you want to play the game. Personally, I was hoping that ETN dropped to me, but I will take my next best option, and I will take Derrick Henry because I think he is going to I think he is going to have a good year.
Oh, you're going DK Metcalf after all that.
No.
You think Derrick Henry's going to have a good season, huh?
I think he's going to have a good year. And
True method.
Yeah, I don't think I don't see a way where he doesn't have a good year. Team is built to, unless he's 100% fallen off in the offseason. He had a great year last year on a much worse
year last year.
He had a great year last year.
Okay year last year.
He was not the elite Derrick Henry we've seen, but it was also a much worse Titans team. So
I will give it to you though. What he put on the field last year, getting that in the 4th round, whereas normally you would have to take Derrick Henry in the 1st or 2nd. I will give you that. I mean,
exactly. So
he did good enough to deserve a 4th round pick.
Yeah, I'm all in as my.
I would have taken Tank Dell there.
That Tank Dell, he's another one of those guys where it's the sample size. I know what Derrick Henry is, and Tank Dell,
sure,
as my wide receiver too, he could be sniped by Nico Collins, could be sniped by Stephon, Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon. They got weapons everywhere. Derrick Henry is going to be the soul of that team, and so just with my first 3 to 4 picks, I just want someone who is locked and loaded, cornerstone of their team, so they can be a cornerstone of my team. That's just my philosophy. I'll let the guys take the DJ Moores, Nico Collins, Tank Dells, Puka Nakuas, Marvin Harrisons in the first few rounds. I'm willing to be wrong on it because the league is turning over and the young pups are stepping up and they are making names for themselves. But until that happens, I'm going to stick with this. So let's see. I got my 5th round pick here. Typically, this is where I start looking at my tight end range because I love having one of the elite tight ends. And I see 3 have come off the board already. Kelsey, McBride, and Laporta. I think it's a little wild that Mark Andrews went after, or hasn't been drafted yet, and McBride has.
What?
McBride had a great end of the year, but that just goes back again to my philosophy. It's, is it sustainable? Is that going to be the new norm for him? Very well could be. Super talented. Love it.
I think so, but that is wild that Mark Andrews and Kincaid even went after.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm just looking here. The wide receiver, don't want Rashi at this point. I'm not willing to bet half a season suspension on my 5th round pick. So I think it may be a bit of a reach, but I am going to drop down for Mark Andrews.
I don't think it's a reach at all. I think it's a good pick there. You already have your
and I don't
wide
think he was
receiver
coming
1.
back to me, so.
Probably not. I think I was going to take him and have Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews.
Oh,
so then I could trade for Saquon.
Draft a trade. Go for it, bro.
Yep. All right. Rashee Rice did go. I think Sleeper's just a little broken at this point. I mean, we don't have any official news you may suspended, but
it's coming. And for
hit and run
for Team 6, I mean, have a hard on for wide receivers. I'll tell you what. Like they just want to
Oh
flood
my
their
gosh,
roster,
I didn't
dude.
even realize. I didn't even realize that, dude.
They are
Mid
cooking.
receivers you could draft.
So
Rob, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Olave, Devonta Smith, Rashi Rice.
hey, if I need wide
Oh
receivers mid-year,
no.
I know who I'm trading with. So, anyways, I think
I
the
will say in kind of a predicament.
what you thinking?
I think the next best available here is truthfully James Cook.
Yeah,
The issue is I need a receiver.
it just depends on how you want to play the game. Personally, if I was in your situation, I would go for best available player. I would take James Cook here because George Pickens hasn't established himself as a wide receiver 1 or 2. He's kind of
Keegan
just been
scares me.
up in the wind. Zay Flowers, he had a good year. He would be the one that I think had the most potential moving forward. T. Higgins, I think, is the more guaranteed prospect, but he has some contract situations coming on, trade
I feel
rumors.
like he hasn't been good since his rookie year. Am I wrong on that?
Probably. He's another one of those guys where he just will accumulate stats over the year and he's not going to give you the
He's just
huge
guy doesn't
performances.
actually help you in fantasy. He's just a good wide receiver.
He's a good wide receiver and he'll win you a week a handful of times throughout the year. It's just if he can outdo Jamar Chase that week, and that's typically why T. Higgins hasn't been my favorite prospect and been on a lot of my teams, is I don't want someone where I have to draft very highly. Granted, this is the 5th round, which is way lower than he had been going the past couple years. So I would be willing to do that this year for T. Higgins around this range, but I don't want my cornerstone wide receiver 2 to be leagues below a teammate of his at the same position. So, but in the 5th round,
Yeah.
I think it's
Yep,
worth
I
a
am gonna
shot.
take James Cook there.
Yeah.
I think he has the upside to break out and be kind of one of those running back ones that you might even be drafting in the first, second round next year.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really awesome pick to get in the was that 5th round?
Yeah. I think it's solid.
Yeah. Hopefully he does get more touchdowns this year. I kind of struggled with that in the past, but over the second half of the year, they really did focus on James Cook more, and I believe he got at least more red zone opportunities. I don't know if he actually had more touchdowns. I think he only had 2 rushing touchdowns the entire year, so it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been the Sahara Desert as far as rushing touchdowns goes. But
right.
you know, as your running back 3 with the volume he will get, I think it's solid.
Yeah. Um, all right, and then for my next pick, all right, I'm gonna go another running. No, I'm just kidding. There's so many good running backs here that like
I know.
I'm so tempted to take Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker. If I didn't have Gibbs, Dave Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco. But at this point, we need to take somebody that we really need because I mean, having Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, and James Cook, I'm set for the year. So I think right now we're kind of getting to the point at quarterback where it's getting a little shaky to the point to where if I don't take one now, I think I might just have to slip and take Jaden Daniels really late. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take
Ooh.
Anthony Richardson.
Oh, okay. No, I like it.
Yeah, it
I
was
like
between
it.
him and Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes just hasn't
Please,
been
please.
like
Yes.
insane the last couple years. So I think I'll take the upside of the rushing, and
Yeah. And personally, I think it's a more fun pick.
it's way more fun. I more,
I know
more fun here.
it's a super fun pick, and the potential is there. So I'm a fan. I drafted Anthony Richardson in with the last pick of the draft last year, and I enjoyed it for 1 week. After he got to start for me, he decided he didn't want to play football in 2023 anymore. So
Yep.
I
Back
was
sling it though, so Solid
No,
names to
he's
ask.
yeah. I'm in on Anthony Richardson. It just depends on opportunity cost where you can get him at. So, all right, I was super stoked because I was hoping that this man fell to me because I was doing some research today, and he's going to be under a microscope for me throughout the off
Zay
season.
Flowers?
Did it look like Zay Flowers fell to me? No,
Oh,
I'm
you
talking
said you were
about.
hoping that he fell to you, so I was
Yes, I'm
thinking that he
hoping he
didn't.
did, and he did. It's my boy, Amari Cooper. So,
Ah,
Amari Cooper is being slept on. He's been hated on. He's been slept on. My man's had hit career high in yardage last year. It was the best season he's put together, and he had a garbage pile of quarterbacks. I know he turned
that
up
was
with
not
Joe
his best
Flacco,
season.
his highest yardage total, and he had to deal with geriatric Joe Flacco. I know they hit it off and they did well. And I went back and looked at every game that he played with Deshaun Watson. He was great, except for two.
You know
Two
why?
games.
You know why that was his highest
What?
receiving total ever?
Why?
Because he had one game with 265 yards.
Guess what? And he missed some games. He didn't even play the last two games of the year. And that just goes to show you at 29 years old, this man can give you 265 and what? 265 and 2? 265 and 3? Whatever it was.
Yeah, 265 and 2.
No, that's what I'm saying. And he was great with Deshaun Watson as far yardage wise. I don't have the stats in front of me, but the
He was pretty good.
attempts
He
and
only had
the
5
targets and
touchdowns, though.
receptions. Exactly, but the yardage was there. When the offense is better, which I think the offense will be better this year, and he will be a focal point. He will be a fantasy asset worth having, especially here in the 6th round as my wide receiver too. So I'm in. Former Cowboy and Cowboy, CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper teaming up. Traded away Cooper to get Lamb, and I'd say it worked out for the both of them. All right.
Yeah.
Damn. Well,
I know you wanted Joe Mixon there.
yeah.
Or Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
But that's what you get when you draft a quarterback and a tight end in the first 7 rounds. So
It's true. It's true. But those guys are going to be locked and loaded in my lineup. And with injuries, I can figure the other positions out. That's just the way I've played the game, and it's worked out. So let's see. Running back or receiver. Obviously, I'm not going to take a quarterback or another tight end. So who do we have and where would they compare as far as a tier of player? Chris Godwin, Marquise Brown, Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Brian Thomas. This is tough because ideally I want to run it back. And I think a lot of running backs will go before I get there. I don't want Alvin Kamara.
you
Personally,
want my
I don't.
advice?
Personally, I don't. Wait, what?
David Montgomery.
I just have a feeling that just based on the utilization, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to take a lot more of the workload away from Monty. He had a great first half of the year. He was a touchdown machine. So
It's
I think
about the touchdowns, man.
I think,
Jamal Williams was like the running back 5 on just touchdowns. He didn't even have the
I
yards
think
David
the
Montgomery
regression
got.
is going to come. I know this is for my wide receiver 3, or excuse me, running back 3. But I don't know.
I'm just saying over Kamara, Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. And none of these receivers excite me. Chris Godwin does not excite me. Marquise Brown does not excite me. Terry McLaurin with a rookie and Jaden Daniels does not excite me. Calvin Ridley with Will Levis does not excite me. That's why, if you look at the number of wide receivers taken so far in the draft, it's astronomical. So this is what happens when the price you pay when you go for the one singular positions early in the draft. But I'm all for it. And you know what? Just to appease you, I will take David Montgomery as my wide receiver, running back 3.
Let's go, because I want a Marquise Brown, baby.
Look at that. You're lucky Team 16
With
was
Rashee
another
Rice
wide
getting
receiver.
suspended. I know. Oh my gosh. Dude, they ended up drafting Zay Flowers too.
Oh, they went. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
They
6.
drafted another receiver after we mentioned it.
No
That's
boy.
insane. This app is a little broken tonight. Yeah, I think with the Rashee Rice suspension, I would have been more in on Rashee Rice, but I know at least here, like we already saw it with DeAndre Hopkins being out for the first start of the season with his suspension, and Kyler Murray Marquise Brown was having 10 to 15 points a game during the absence of DeAndre Hopkins on that suspension. Now he's got Patrick Mahomes, and I think he can do it again. So I think it's a good pick. No competition to start the season, really. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. As your wide receiver 2, Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, not my favorite to have as a wide receiver 2. I was hoping Brian Thomas would come back to me, and he did not.
You can
So
get
that kinda
Deontay
sucks.
Johnson again. You can have the future wide receiver 1 in Carolina.
Yeah, I can have a piece of shit. Yeah, I'll pass on that, buddy. Thanks.
All right, buddy.
I don't want your fucking advice.
So 100% off the board, huh?
Yeah, I do not want that. Honestly, the wide receivers look disgusting right now. Alvin Kamara's there at running back. I think that's a disgusting pick, but
It is a gross pick, but as your running back 4, someone who's got some guaranteed volume, he's going to be
if I have
involved.
James Cook or Gibbs or Taylor go out, I mean, that is
do
really
worse.
nice. You can do worse, but I think at this point, really need wide receivers. So I think I'm willing to even just scroll down the list a little bit. You know what? I think this is where we got to take Christian Watson. When he's been healthy, he's been really good.
Yeah.
At this point in the draft, getting somebody that could be a wide receiver 1 for the team is really nice.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth the reach there.
He could be your team's wide receiver 1 as well.
Yeah, if he's healthy.
All right.
Which
I'm
he hasn't
going to
been.
scroll over to the wide receivers here because I need some love. I need some love for my wide receivers. Deontay Johnson. I think that we're on the same page where we just don't think that we're going to be the ones to make that decision on Deontay Johnson and Bryce Young.
I will not be taking him.
And I'm not a big fan of the wide receiver 3 in Seattle and JSN at this point in time.
Nope. No, thank you.
So I will raise you one, and I will not be taking Xavier Worthy because I'm going to take your darling Adonai Mitchell.
Ah, you slut. I was going to take him the next round.
Yes, I know you were.
I wanted to pair him with Anthony
We
Richardson.
both liked Adonai Mitchell quite a bit in the pre-draft process, and I think he fell to a decent situation where his archetype is primed to be a big playmaker for Anthony Richardson in Indy. So as my wide receiver 3, I like getting in on the rookie wide receivers, and I almost was able to bounce back around and get Xavier Worthy as well, which I would have been tempted to do. But at this point in time, I'm going to look and see where the wide receivers are. I'm just ping-ponging between the two. Or, excuse me, the running backs. Ping-ponging between the two. Ladd McConkey is on the table for me right here, but I think I need some more guaranteed production. So I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. I actually like Swift
I like that pick
this
that late.
year because I think he's going to be a best friend of Caleb Williams. A lot of the time, rookie quarterbacks come in and the running back is heavily relied upon. I think they knew that they were going that direction in the draft with Caleb Williams, and that's partially why they drafted or they signed DeAndre Swift as well. So excited for the pick. for my running back 4 in the 9th round, I think it's a good value. So
yeah, I like it as well. Yeah, and honestly, most of the running backs at this point are doo-doo water. So
there's still some gems down
um,
there. There's still some gems.
I think I'm locked and loaded with my running backs for now. Somebody I'm really excited about is Lad McConkey.
I had a feeling.
Obviously, he has the opportunity with Justin Herbert, so I'm actually going to go with him. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
Second guessing. Second
Second
guessing.
guessing.
Second guessing.
I was. All right, no, we're doing it. Lad McConkey.
Okay.
This guy, when we were watching tape, he's just always open. He's kind of like Roman Wilson, but better. Where he's like not really athletic, but he's just always open. Gritty guy. So I think that actually is right up Justin Herbert's alley.
Well, did your guy come back to you? The
My
one you
guy
were
was always
second
going to come
guessing
back
about.
to me.
I'm not gonna say anything.
And I'm going to
Not
do
on
this
show
to you.
2. Not on show 2. We still need people to watch this.
I'm going to do what you couldn't.
You're not gonna do jack.
I'm going to do it. Keon!
So back-to-back rookie wide receivers and Lad McConkey
Yeah, I'll
and
take
Keon
the wide
Coleman.
receiver one for Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, please.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yep.
uh, those are my top 3 of the rookies: Coleman, McConkey, and Adonai Mitchell. I think they have a
Okay.
clear path. Well, except for Marvin Harrison, but there ain't no way in Lord Baby Jesus' hail I'm drafting him in the 1st or 2nd round. So,
No.
out of those guys, those 3 are my favorite. So I can't blame you there. I went Swift last time, wide receiver. These guys aren't exciting, and I only have 3 wide receivers on the roster right now, so I have to go that direction. And so with those picks that I have, CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, Mitchell, I have locked and loaded CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, who I think is consistent with upside. Adonai Mitchell is all unknown in upside. So I'm going to
That
go
Dwight
for someone
Bowen.
who I think has more of a clear role and someone who can contribute when needed. And I think that person is Tyler Lockett. He's a fun guy to have on your
Dwight
team.
Bowen?
He is reliable. You know he's going to be involved. I know he's older, and I almost went Jameson Williams there, but that's not what I was looking for in that pick. That would be the upside pick, and I think I'm trying to cover all my bases there. Damn, I was hoping Javonte Williams would come back to me. But that just allows me to have fun here. I'm taking Trey Benson.
I
I
was, I was hoping to get back to me.
love me some Trey Benson.
I would love to have him as my running back for
You moved your
when I'm
mic. I
on the
can't
bench for
hear
half
you.
the year. Huh?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Nope. Oh, wait. Hold on. Maybe it's me. Am I dumb? I might be dumb. Anyways.
Are you done?
Yep, I'm dumb.
You done?
I clicked my volume on my chair, but
Oh, dude, you didn't hear me that whole time. I was like, while you were talking about your pick, I was like, are you going to take Toy Flowin?
no,
Toy Flowin?
no, not Toy Franklin, not yet.
Toy Flowin?
You take him.
I was wondering. I was like, damn, it's not funny, I guess.
No, not funny. You never were funny. So.
All right. Well, neither are you, so it's my pick now. Shut up. All right. I mean, we're in the depths of it here. Dude, T.J. Hawkinson is still there.
Do you need a tight end? You do, don't you?
No,
No,
I
you
don't.
Oh, you got
But
Kelsey.
that's something to remember, people.
He's also coming off a gruesome injury towards the end of the season last year, and
Whatever.
He's not supposed to be ready come season start, so
Also, Pat Fryermuth and Cole Kmet, Dalton Schultz.
that bleh, garbage.
I'm just saying, if you want to punt the position, I think this is probably the deepest tight ends have been in a long time.
Yeah, because we got guys like Brock Bowers came in, Kincaid stepped
You
up,
got
Evan
Kyle Pitts
Ingram.
with Cousins now.
Exactly, cousin or Pitts now seems like
Kincaid.
not a vomit-worthy pick.
Yeah.
Jake
McBride.
Ferguson, Ingram
Jake Ferguson.
decided to be somewhat consistent and be a player, so we you got some options. Njoku, but makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty thin at running back. I do have three studs, but I do need a little bit more depth there. Hmm. Honestly, did anybody get drafted to New York
A
at
few
running
players
back?
did.
At running back,
The
the
Jets or
Giants.
Giants? No, Devin Singletary is the man.
Hmm. So that's a guy. Yeah, I'm gonna take Devin Singletary there. Give me the starter for a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
With your running back four, I think that's really awesome to get with only one pick left. I could see him being pretty good. I mean, when it was just him in the backfield for Houston, he was just fine as a running back 3 or 4. So
yeah. Damn, Jonathan Brooks went.
that's probably what I would have taken last. Um, Honestly, if this was a real draft, we'll just play it as if this is a real draft. Anthony Richardson, as exciting as he is, does scare me a little bit. I'm fully loaded at the rest of the positions. So here, I think I'm going to try and take Justin Herbert,
Okay,
which I think it's pretty criminal that he's going that low.
I think you're right. And for that exact same reason, I was hoping you weren't going to take my guy. Jaden Daniels is going to be my final pick.
Yeah,
We'll see on actual draft day
it's
which
between him and Herbert.
direction I go. And I knew you were going to say that, so I was hoping that you weren't going to take Jaden Daniels. Um, and at this point, you know, kickers and defenses, I guess we can just go over a little bit of our strategy when it comes to that. I stream defenses every week. I try to, anyways. I
Yeah,
don't care the
I try to
quality of the
pick people
defense.
that will be good for a couple weeks.
I'll do it weekly. I will take the best matchup possible. I don't care if I'm picking the worst defense in the league. If they're playing in the past, if they're playing Zach Wilson, I'm trying to slot him in. Or they're playing the Patriots, I'm trying to slot them in. So that's how I usually go. So when I draft a defense, I'll look at the first few weeks, see if it's a favorable matchup. I'll go for teams with the terrible quarterbacks. That's usually my philosophy, just because they won't put up as many points. You can get lucky with pick sixes and kick return touchdowns for DSTs all the time, but where you're going to maintain a lot of your initial points is by the other team not scoring points. So that's usually my thought process there. I haven't looked into any schedules yet. And kickers, I will go for a good kicker on a great team. I want a great offense. I know if they score too many touchdowns, you're only getting 1 point per kick on the extra point, but they don't, even great offenses don't score touchdowns every possession. I want the best possible chance to get into field goal range. So someone like Tyler Bass, Harrison Butker, that's here, Jake Elliott, they're just fun to have, knowing that you can lock them in no matter what. But since this is our show, Troy Franklin.
That's very funny.
I know.
So
we're
while you
breaking
were
the
talking
rules.
about that though a little bit, my strategy is actually a little different, which I didn't realize that we were.
I guess we
Um,
really haven't discussed our DST
yeah,
and kicker strategy too much. It's not the
honestly,
sexiest of topics.
with the defense, obviously you're just kind of nitpicking at this point, but it matters sometimes. So, um, with defense, I typically do try to get somebody I can lock down for 2 to 3 weeks, even if I don't think they're going to be the best defense in 3 weeks. If they're going to be solid enough to start, I will typically pick that team. I don't like doing the whole what do you call it, ring around the rosy with
I love it.
defenses. The reason I don't love it is because there's been many times where I've tried to do that and I've got stuck with absolutely the worst defenses to pick from, and then you
If I
get negative points.
have an elite option, I'll roster 2 defenses because I won't drop an elite option for a 1 week rental. But for the most part, I do.
All right. Yeah, and then the kickers, I'm typically the same. But a lot of times I'll actually go after kickers that are on bad teams because they'll kick more field goals and less extra points. Um, Usually the teams that aren't necessarily bad, but they're just bad in the red zone. So like I think last year I wanted Young Hoku
Young Wei.
because
It's Young Wei.
Young Wei. Well, Young Ho sounds way cooler.
You would think Young Ho sound
Oh,
cool.
All right. Well, whatever.
Pause.
No one's listening to the podcast anyways at this point. So
We steady climbing, baby.
yeah. Anyways, whatever. I'll take Young Hoku.
All right. Let's wrap this up because I'm a glutton for punishment. I will wrap this up with whose defense shall I pick? Niners. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that they're still on there. Why were they one of the last defenses to get picked? But oh, look at the chime.
I would have drafted mine.
Nah, it doesn't make a difference. Especially, I'm starting. According to this, I'm starting the league with no kicker, so we'll have to
I would
make some
probably
tough
either take
decisions.
Chargers or Niners.
Nah, no. But that wraps up our draft. We'll save these results. I'm sure we're gonna have a laugh looking back at this episode after the end of the year, or hell, even halfway
Always
through the
do.
year, or after free agency or training camp. Like these and this analysis and these picks could make 0 sense by then. So we like keeping receipts. We'll revisit later. But if nothing else changes, we'll see which one of us would have drafted. Oh, you know what we should do at the end of the year? Tally up the total points and see whose team would have scored more total fantasy points this year.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's literally 14 additions. Like, it's not that bad.
I will do it.
All right. Anyways,
Everybody vote in the comments below which team would win. Who drafted better in this mock draft?
there's only
I
one
did.
team that has Toy Franklin. But thanks everyone for watching. This was last call for fantasy football. And we'll be seeing you guys next week. Adios.
Goodbye.